Good evening from Galactic Public Radio and Andceeth. I'm Spencer McDunn, and these are the top headlines from around the known galaxy. Disturbing revelations follow the first public reports on the updated federal surveillance laws. For the latest, we go to Smooth Furnace in the Sol system.
Thanks, Spencer. Sweeping new counterterrorism laws have rattled the foundations of federal civil liberties. The Proactive Detection Bureau, authorized in the wake of the Neo-Marlinist starport bombings, has been wildly successful in tracking down the NMLA as well as other potential threats. But according to Shadow President Felicia Winters, that success comes at a high price. In a recent address to the federal Congress, she stated, quote, "The Federation's Constitution explicitly guarantees citizens the right to data security and privacy. The PDB tramples over this by raiding everyone's personal communications, casting aside decency and dignity so that algorithms can probe into every aspect of our lives." End quote. The Federal Investigations Agency, not to be confused with the Federal Intelligence Agency, although many do confuse them, reported arresting, quote, "several thousand individuals who were conducting research into terror tactics, radical ideologies, and other suspicious subjects," end quote. With the formation of the PDB only 3 weeks ago, many commentators believe that the federal government was already monitoring internal communications without congressional authorization. This means that the recent legislation only codified an ongoing and widespread practice. And this practice is going to spread further, with Federal Vice President Jerome Archer stating, quote, "We are widening the search parameters to include other related criminal activity," end quote. From the Sol System for Galactic Public Radio, I'm Smooth Furnace.
Thanks, Smooth. The Neo-Marlinist refugees fleeing the Madrid system have been granted conditional asylum in the Marlinist conclave. Imperial Senator Lorcan Scordado announced the compromise by stating, quote, "The Landgrave of Madrid and his inner circle will cooperate fully with the affiliated counter-terrorist group to provide details on the senior leadership of the MMLA. In return, they will receive life imprisonment at the local detention facility," end quote. The civilian population will be screened and then allowed to debark the Steel Majesty megaship. Hailing the compromise as a positive step, Imperial Chancellor Anders Blaine called the agreement, quote, "precisely the sort of creative solution the Emperor requires," end quote. While the Federation and Alliance are lukewarm at best, one security official who requested to remain anonymous believes that this is, quote, "the best of all the bad options," end quote. Finally, in local news, Guard Frequency Response has been awarded a provisional franchise office in the Yulan system. With one planet and one small asteroid belt orbiting a T-Tauri star, many interstellar trade analysts consider the system an afterthought. 30 years ago, a petition to transfer its easy-to-pronounce and almost as easy-to-spell name to a main sequence star. The petition failed due to the Pilots Federation union rules. Deputy Assistant Director Richard Clemens told GPR, quote, "Calling it a backwater would be an insult to backwaters everywhere. We're competing for starport real estate with the conservatives at Taliala, who are a notorious corporatist group that scoffs at the idea of cooperative governance. They didn't even bother to start any conflicts with our scout ships. If I had to use one word to describe the system, it would be meh," end quote. Director Clemens further stated they would check on the status of the conflict next week if, quote, "they could find someone headed that direction anyway," end quote. Until the next turn of the world, for Galactic Public Radio, I'm Spencer McDunn. Good night.